I am here in Bari, Italy with Dr. Elizabeth Bright. And I just want to share real quick, if you don't know who Dr. Elizabeth Bright is, she is the reason why I am a high fat carnivore, thriving. I brought my period back. I feel amazing. My skin has healed. After reading her book, Good Fat is Good for Women, my life was changed. I started high fat carnivore. To this day, I still thrive and eat a high fat carnivore diet. So Dr. Bright, welcome. Introduce yourself.
Thank you, Bella. I'm so glad you're visiting us. I'm an osteopath and a naturopath, and I went into menopause at 52, and I started the carnivore diet at 52 because my research into menopause and the supposed symptoms associated with menopause pointed out to me that what's missing is fat, animal fat.
When you work with women who need to heal hormones, what is usually the first step that you have them take?
First step is changing their diet, going high fat carnivore. Fat is anti-animal fat. I have to say cholesterol because avocado oil isn't going to do it. High fat carnivore is an anti-inflammatory. It gives them the energy they need to heal. It reduces a lot of digestive issues, and inflammation can manifest itself in so many different ways. So that's the first thing.
What made you write this first book? What inspired you?
Going into menopause, if you look up menopause, any woman is going to be freaked out, or a woman who is past, I don't know, 35 is going to say, oh my God, my body's going to fall apart. And I thought, no, this is not natural. I don't believe this is going to happen to me. And I come from a family of several people, my parents who had Alzheimer's. So I was very conscious, and I have 3 kids, very conscious of being healthy for the long term. And I was horrified by what I saw, with the direction, the fear mongering directed at women to take substances, synthetic hormones, etc., to treat something that is completely natural and actually good. We live longer than other animals. Chimps die at 50 because they keep getting their period. We are not supposed to keep having babies. We're supposed to grow old and healthy so we can take care of the generations after us.
This is your second book, Good
Yes.
Fat is Good for Girls. What inspired you to write this one?
What inspired me was, well, I have 2 daughters. I have a son and then 2 daughters, and most of my daughter's friends were on antidepressants. Most of them were vegan.
Mm.
And you can't miss what's happening in the community and the people you know, and you also can't miss what's happening, what you read in the headlines. So I also experienced small bout of anorexia and bulimia when I was a teenager, wanting to be the weight that was idealized. I wanted to explain how girls could get through this period without resorting to all the things that we know girls resort to: yo-yo dieting, over exercising, cutting themselves, and eventually often being put on antidepressants and anti-anxiety medication.
Absolutely. And then you have your third book coming out soon, her new book. When is it coming out and what is that going to be about?
That's coming out in about a month. The power of thyroid and adrenal function in healing, the way to heal the rest of your life. It is about how intertwined thyroid function and adrenal function are, and how you really can't, if you have any illnesses, if you have any health issues, you need to look there first before resorting to surgery, medication. Unfortunately, this isn't talked about, how important these glands affect the health of our fetus, our childhood, and our adulthood.
All the books are linked down below, and also how to pre-order Dr. Bright's new book will be in the description box. So let's jump into the questions. Okay, let's start with the elephant in the room. Why are so many people, especially women, walking around with undiagnosed thyroid issues? Is it just being overlooked in the medical system, or are we all undervaluing how crucial thyroid health actually is?
All of those things. So, why do more women suffer from hypothyroidism? That is because women have babies. Women need a certain nutritional amount of iodine, for one, and their bodies are supposed to produce a certain amount of thyroid hormone during puberty. So the thyroid hormone and iodine needs ratchet up during puberty, both for females and for males. But because females grow more tissue during puberty, breasts are bigger,
Mm.
the uterus is an organ that gets bigger. So this requires a lot of thyroid hormone. Unfortunately, because of the way young women are eating, girls, because today in our world, from our food sources, we don't get any iodine. We're eating so many substances that prevent the absorption of iodine that they get their periods too young. They hit adolescence predisposed towards hypothyroidism, which can also affect their adrenal function. And doctors are looking for extremes. So my book explains how to look for this in yourself, why you've been tired all the time, if you've been prescribed antidepressants, if you have been going up and down in weight since adolescence, then you should look into these things such as thyroid function and adrenal function.
If you can just list what are some of the go-to symptoms that you see over and over in your clients that maybe could help the viewers right now just be aware of that this could be a thyroid issue.
Hair loss is classic, constipation. Usually in young people, they put on weight immediately when they hit puberty, and then they can't lose the weight, and they try with extreme measures. When you're a fertile being, your body will do the best it can. When you're not a fertile being, things might start to fall apart. So it's the decades that you've been insufficient in iodine and thyroid hormone that will create kidney stones, gallstones, in young people, scoliosis. If you Google scoliosis, it's always in adolescents, adolescent girls most likely.
Right.
And that's because the ligaments become too stretchy. So the spine can't hold itself straight. Women who get tummy tucks, skin loses its elasticity after you've given birth or after you've lost weight. Bladder prolapse. Again, the ligaments are less stretchy, they're less elastic. All of these things are caused by thyroid dysfunction.
If a woman ignored her thyroid issues for decades, like you said, is there hope for it to be fully healed still?
All right. So if you're young and you're a teenager, I think so. Yes. You add iodine. Yes. If you have some of the young people seeing me have nodules on their thyroid, which happens when the thyroid is inflamed, the thyroid will grow extra pieces when it's trying to get more iodine out of the bloodstream. The breasts and the uterus and the thyroid, they all compete for the iodine. So, one wins. Maybe the breasts win and you get a goiter. The thyroid wins and you get fibrocystic breasts. If you are of a certain age, though, either your thyroid is somewhat damaged, it may not be able to produce the quantity of hormone you need to thrive. And that's when I recommend not just the iodine and the diet, but natural desiccated thyroid.
Why isn't this everywhere with the thyroid controlling so much like metabolism, energy, mood, fertility? Why isn't it front and center in health conversations? Why do you think it's being left out of the bigger health picture?
Okay, so hypothyroidism was basically discovered. I mean, Chinese medicine, they were burning sponges for iodine way before Western medicine existed. But it was in the West discovered as a condition in the 1800s. What became huge in the late 1800s was surgery. So surgeons, as I've written in my book, were the cowboys of medicine. They were always trying new things, and this became physicians could make a lot more money performing surgery than healing somebody without surgery. The medicines at the time were horrible. They were mercury and, medicines that were very damaging, which is why osteopathy was born, because the physician who invented it didn't want to give his kids mercury when they were sick. When you'd only be addressing diet, prescribing natural desiccated thyroid, which is FDA approved, and iodine can't be patented, so it's cheap. So the industry isn't going to make any money off of addressing hypothyroidism or adrenal dysfunction.
Before we get to the most important part of the video, I want to make sure all of you carnivores, and especially all you new carnivores, are making sure to address your electrolytes. Because even if you follow all of my best carnivore tips, sometimes just eating meat isn't enough during that initial adaptation phase. If any of these symptoms are happening to you, like headaches, muscle cramping, low energy, lower endurance in the gym, this could just be a simple electrolyte imbalance. You either can salt all of your meals a little bit heavier and see if that resolves the issue, or just lean on a high quality electrolyte supplement. This right here is the one that I recommend. It's from the brand Element, specifically labeled raw unflavored. And this one does not have any stevia or flavorings, just the 3 electrolytes our body needs: sodium, potassium, and magnesium, measured out in the right quantities. This is what each of the packets look like. You just rip one open, pour it in whatever you're drinking, mix it up, drink it down, and you're good to go. You all can get a free sample pack like this with any purchase if you go to the URL shown on the screen, drinklmnt.com/SBGAL. I've also linked them down below. How bad can it get if we completely miss it? So if someone goes years without knowing their thyroid isn't functioning properly, what are the consequences? Is there a point where the damage becomes irreversible?
All right, so you'd say irreversible, you'd say you had your thyroid removed. You take natural desiccated thyroid, you'll be just fine. The thyroid produces 5 hormones, which is natural desiccated thyroid, which is pig thyroid, which produces the exact same ratio of hormones as your own thyroid. So you'll be fine. If that, even people who don't have a thyroid, they thrive. But I would recommend still they take iodine because their breasts need it if they still have them, their uterus needs it if they still have it, and their adrenals and every other tissue. I would also recommend the high-fat carnivore diet because that's anti-inflammatory. So you're always on the upside. You're always ahead of the curve if you're following this protocol. I mean, it depends on what age, what time of your life. If you're a teenager and you're having thyroid issues, you may have a rotten adolescence. You may buff it back between depression and anxiety and OCD. If you're in your 20s, you have menstrual issues, you have miscarriages, you may have fertility issues. If you are pregnant, if the levels of T3 need to be so high when you're pregnant. It's happened with my own daughter who was not tested properly. I tested her properly. She went into hypothyroidism during her pregnancy. And it's very important to me that, I gave her natural desiccated thyroid because the child can be born with learning disabilities without enough thyroid, because the maternal thyroid is building the baby until 16 to 18 weeks. After that, the baby's fetal thyroid is formed. But before that, it's all maternal thyroid.
When you said that your daughter wasn't getting proper testing, can you elaborate on that?
She was living in England, so they only test T4, free T4, and TSH. Most places, the US is huge, so there's so many different states and different counties and how they do it, but most people get away. Most people come to me with just having tested TSH, which is a pituitary hormone, which is only going to be indicative in a case of primary hypothyroidism. It doesn't count because what is important is free T3 and free T4. I only use TSH to see if somebody has an inflamed thyroid. What's important is free T3 and free T4. So I added the free T4 to her list. We tested a couple of times to see that I was giving her enough. And in many cases, women have come to me when they're very frightened of not being able to get pregnant. And when if they are pregnant, losing the pregnancy because they had positive antibodies. You have to get your antibodies down during pregnancy if you have Hashimoto's. Why? Because your immune system, we know the reason why progesterone levels skyrocket during first trimester is because your immune system, just like you get a liver from somebody, the baby by your immune system, the fetus is seen as a foreign object. It's something that came from the outside. So your immune system will try to kill it, to get rid of it. So if your immune system's already turned on to be hyperactive with having positive antibodies, you have to get those antibodies down, or else your body will not allow the pregnancy to continue.
Does this apply if someone is not pregnant?
No. I mean, we want to get those antibodies anyway because we want to get those antibodies down. Antibodies are your immune system attacking you. It can move from the thyroid. It's always a thyroid first. The thyroid is very delicate tissue. If there's one autoimmune condition, there's another. So people send me pictures, males and females, when I, start working with somebody, and I can see, oh, this person has vitiligo. Okay. It started with Hashimoto's. They weren't diagnosed.
Wow.
Oh, this person, they say, I have joint pain, rheumatism, I have arthritis. It started with low thyroid function, not diagnosed.
When you say that you recommend the natural desiccated thyroid, if someone is in the States, in America, how do you recommend they go about getting it?
Well, in the book, I write how you go about getting it, but I mean, obviously, you have to because it is FDA approved, it is still sold as a medication. It's grandfathered. They are trying to get rid of it. You, by law, you're supposed to get a prescription from your physician. There is, by law, they're supposed to offer you the natural desiccated thyroid or the synthetic levothyroxine, which will never work. There are also ways to order it from outside
Why doesn't levothyroxine work?
because it's a synthetic. So in my book, I also explain that a synthetic molecule, while the structure may be the same, so levothyroxine is supposed to, it's a T4. Thyroid hormone has, levothyroxine has, thyroxine, which is the natural one that your body produces, has 4 iodine molecules. T3, which is the active hormone, has 3 iodine molecules. And from there on, so T4, T3, T2, T1, they all have functions in the body. The synthetic will not be converted into the T3, T2, T1. It'll just lower the TSH on papers. It will not turn into the T3, which is active, which is what all the receptors need. So the receptors are what the hormone is supposed to attach to. But the synthetic will not attach because it's a different structure. It will not attach to the ligand. So the receptor, it's like a lock and key effect. Here's the hormone. It's supposed to lock. It won't lock. Neither will the T3 synthetic. It will not lock in, so it won't attach to the receptors, which need this hormone to perform functions. The same thing goes with synthetic progesterone, synthetic testosterone, synthetic estrogen, estradiol, all, they will not attach.
Well, my follow-up is I hear all of these women, a lot of them are in the carnivore space, a lot of them are also experts and voices in the space. They say, well, I went on bioidentical hormones and I suddenly feel amazing. I feel like myself again. So then how is that possible?
Raises cortisol levels. So if you've been hypothyroid, if you have any kind of adrenal issue, you're going to have cortisol irregularity. You might have low in the morning, then high in the afternoon. You might have high at night, low in the morning. You'd feel better if you snorted crack. Sorry. I mean, I have to be very vulgar here because that is what it does. It raises cortisol levels. If you run a marathon, you will feel fantastic for a couple of days and then you'll crash. So you keep pushing that. What they do is they raise cortisol levels so you feel a little bit more energy, you feel a little bit like you're handling it, but then you crash again.
If you've been following Dr. Elizabeth Bright, you probably know that getting a one-on-one consultation with her currently means waiting up to 7 months. That's how in demand and booked out she is, and for good reason, because Dr. Elizabeth Bright is one of the most trusted voices in this space, and someone who truly cares about helping each and every one of you. Now, while she's already written 2 incredible books, with a 3rd one on the way, we know some of you are still craving that personal connection with her. That is why I am so beyond thrilled to announce something brand new. Dr. Elizabeth Bright and I are teaming up to launch an exclusive all-new community workshop. Led by Dr. Bright herself, this will actually be the only way to work directly with Dr. Bright from now on. She will be dedicating most of her professional time to this community moving forward, and it will include full access to the Steak and Butter Gang community and our 90-day transformation challenge. Everyone will have a chance to win $2,000 in cash prizes just for staying carnivore. If you've been hoping to work with her, I highly recommend you check out the description box down below. It will be the first link in the description box. Click it and sign up to join the waitlist so that you're notified the moment it is open. What are some of the negative or long-term consequences of women taking bioidentical hormones, maybe long-term or even after a couple weeks?
Well, I don't know, after a couple of weeks. It's not attaching to the receptors. Your body does need to have these hormones in your system, not because you're supposed to have babies. It's all done via the adrenal hormone cascade. Cancer. I mean, cancer, estrogens are growth hormones. Progesterone messes up blood sugar. But mostly the long-term issue is that they raise cortisol levels. So if someone comes to me and they're on bioidentical, it's a very, very long-term process of turning the yam, sweet yam, whatever, diosgenin into a steroid molecular structure that is nothing to do with a steroid. The human body needs steroids made from cholesterol. That is the correct molecular structure. Now, long term, if you have raised cortisol levels, these receptors are not getting the hormones they need. your pituitary will respond and say, "Oh, I'm not making no cortisol anymore." You can have crash cortisol levels. You can have reactive hypoglycemia.
What is reactive hypoglycemia?
Reactive hypoglycemia. So if you are, our liver is always producing sugar. You don't have to eat sugar. Um, Basically, we don't eat all night. I do tell people to eat in the night because if they're waking up many times because of a cortisol issue. But the liver produces sugar during the night, gluconeogenesis, so we don't get hungry and wake up. Now, if you have reactive hypoglycemia, cortisol regulates blood sugar. So in a low cortisol state, the sugar that the liver produces or the pound of meat you ate with not enough fat during the day, the insulin response will be too strong. So it'll push that blood sugar down. You'll crash, and then your liver will make more sugar to bring you up. And it's a roller coaster effect.
So are you saying when one focuses on eating enough fat, high fat, that doesn't happen because there's plenty of fat?
Absolutely. You are in ketosis and your liver does not need to make sugar because there's plenty of ketones for you to have energy. But this can also, the reactive hypoglycemia can have cardiovascular effects. You can be dizzy, have palpitations, air hunger.
What's air hunger?
You can't feel your lungs. Everybody's doing this when you're short of breath, and but primarily there's a tightness in your chest, and all this is exacerbated with stress.
What are the red flags people keep ignoring? What are some of the everyday symptoms, maybe the ones that seem minor, that are actually big warning signs of thyroid dysfunction?
Have you had surgery? Have you had your tonsils out? Have you had your appendix out? Do you have asthma? Are you on any medications? I mean, we didn't evolve to be on medications. We evolved to eat a high-fat carnivore diet, and that's it. I mean, that's what I do. I'm 62 and I'm not on any medications.
I'm 28 and no longer on any medications, and my period is regular every single month and it's painless. Can you talk about this as well?
Yes.
So, good fat is good for girls. Every single mom should get this for their daughters. If you have young women that you love in your life, gift them this book. It will change their life. So, should young women be expecting cramps, PMS symptoms, mood swings during their monthly cycles?
Absolutely not. We didn't evolve to have any of that. So you should not have cramps. You should look down and say, "Oh, got my period." There shouldn't be any, and it shouldn't last long. The bleeding shouldn't be heavy. It should be kind of light. We evolved when we formed this big brain. We were getting our period between 16 and 18, first period.
Yes.
Having 2 to 3 children, 2 to 3 years apart. That's before agriculture. That's how our body was designed to perform before agriculture. Agriculture kind of threw a wrench in the works. Girls get their periods much younger, have more children.
Why does everyone say that for women, if you're menstruating, you need to eat carbs the days leading up to when you start bleeding?
Because they're stupid? I'm sorry. I mean, our culture, unfortunately, the world's cultures, there are places where when girls get their period, they're stuck in huts because they are considered dirty. Blood coming out of them was considered by all cultures where men have always been, the directors of everything. Women were considered dirty when they got their period. I remember being embarrassed because of my friends to go get Tampax or pads at the store. I mean, everybody remembers this. They're not paid for as part of women have to pay for them. They're not part of, part of a regular medical expense. Carbs have absolutely nothing to do with endocrine balance. Absolutely nothing. Thyroid function certainly doesn't need carbs. And good fat is good for women. I explain why fat, and both books, Good Fat is Good for Girls, explain why fat is important for regulating your menstrual health. So yeah, it is the continued propaganda of we need carbs any way they can shove it down our throats. Yeah.
So interesting. When I stopped eating the carbs and fully went into high fat carnivore, I started noticing my body craved fat the days
Mhm,
leading up to the period
mhm.
extra hard. So why is that happening?
Because you're making more hormones.
Mm.
So you're yeah, obviously during luteal phase, progesterone's going to go up. That's there's going to be more need. I wish we had the chart. It's going to be in the book.
Okay.
Um, the chart of the adrenal hormone cascade. So 90%
Mm.
of our hormones are synthesized in the adrenals.
Mhm.
The ovaries come into the picture when an egg is fertilized.
Mhm.
The ovaries build the placenta. They have the same cascade, but they're basically building the placenta, which does a lot of work, obviously, during pregnancy.
Let's talk solutions. I know that
Mhm.
you are so special and unique because you really advocate for a high fat carnivore diet. And I personally don't know any other experts in the carnivore space that advocate for it this hard. And it changed my life. So, besides high fat carnivore, what else can women watching right now start being aware of, start implementing in their daily life?
Take Lugol's iodine. You
Okay,
can get
perfect.
yes, you can get the 5, they hide the 5% link, but it's there. I mean, you can put the link.
Yes.
Lugol J. Crow's. They only seem to sell the 2% because less is less scary to the medical industry.
Mhm.
You must ingest it. It will say on the bottle or somewhere, don't ingest it. Yes, definitely ingest it. You
Mhm.
can put it a couple of drops in a glass of water or in gelatin capsules. Um, yeah, some people hate the taste. Some people put it in their coffee. It doesn't damage it to put it in your coffee. Just think it ruins the coffee personally, but
Mm.
it's fine. They can get off their treadmills, stop marathoning. I have so many people tell me, I'm so afraid to stop exercising. Exercise will not save your life.
Mm.
Exercise is important. I went paddleboarding 6K this morning.
Mhm.
I love it, but I'm not pushing myself. I go 2 days max. I'm not going to do it if I didn't sleep well. I have my butter and egg yolk and decaf in the morning before I go. I went, it's early this morning and getting towards lunchtime now. I feel great. Don't push yourself to exercise if you don't enjoy it.
Mm.
Get off that treadmill, get off that machine.
Here's a follow-up. So you're big on keeping the stress low. Obviously, do things like stop exercising hard, get off that treadmill. But what if a woman or gentleman watching this video has a very high stress job, career, lots of kids they have to take care of, their life is just naturally full of stress? What can they do?
Eat fat.
Mhm.
Eat fat. Fat mitigates stress. So, what is stress? You can have a deficiency and insufficiency, right? And thyroid or iodine, and that is causes physiological stress.
Mhm.
We have stress around us. We have a reaction in our bodies to war, famine, danger, right?
Mhm.
The problem is that in a high stress situation, your body thinks you are experiencing war, famine, danger. That makes you hold on to weight because
Yes.
when you're running, you need those extra calories to survive.
Mhm.
Eat fat. Fat is an anti inflammatory and it'll give you the energy to handle that stress. So that stress rolls off your back instead of raising your cortisol levels. You are replenishing that cortisol that is being produced in order for you to handle stress.
Amazing. Any fat or only animal fats?
Only animal fat. Cortisol is made out of, it's a steroid that is made out of cholesterol.
Mhm. I know people are wondering, well, what are your thoughts on MCT oil and extra virgin olive oil and avocado oil, coconut oil?
I don't like them. I don't recommend them. So the Greeks used olive oil as lighter fluid. They
Mhm.
didn't need it.
Mhm.
Um, avocado oil, it's not, it's not, it's not hampering anything. It's not damaging anything,
Mhm.
but it's not going to make hormones. It's not going to make myelin sheaths. It's not going to regenerate your brain.
Mm.
What was the other one? MCT
Coconut,
oil.
yeah,
Okay,
MCT.
coconut oil. Coconut oil can have some histamines in it. It's considered a saturated fat, but it isn't cholesterol. So it's not going to build hormones. It's not going to build the brain.
Mm.
MCT oil, I think it's a waste of money.
Okay, there you go. Okay, so now let's talk about the actual eating part. How important is it for women to start their day off with a breakfast instead of fasting through breakfast and morning time?
This is for everybody, male and female.
Perfect.
All right. So that big brain needs a lot of fat. We only were able to become human because we ate a lot of animal fat.
Mhm.
And that is how we evolved this big brain. So if you look at the circadian rhythm, the cortisol levels and thyroid levels peak between 6 and 9 in the morning. So you need a bunch of fat in order to help that, just like when you're handling, if you're dealing with stress, you need fat. That fat, your body's looking for that fat to make that, help that cholesterol reach its peak. That's when you're supposed to exercise. That's when you're supposed to wake up bright-eyed and bushy-tailed, greet your day.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, if you work at 5 o'clock at night, you're going to have to do a lot of jerry rigging because you're going to have to work on that, because that is our human schedule, our circadian rhythm. Morning, cortisol is high, fat helps that. And then as it goes down, it descends gently. The curve descends gently to produce melatonin. Cortisol goes down, you produce melatonin, you go to sleep.
Okay, so the most important time to eat the most fat is morning?
I recommend high fat in the morning and then definitely fat throughout the day. We all have stress.
Yeah.
That fat is always going to, a little bit of fat, teaspoon, tablespoon is going to help you address what life throws at us.
Is there a reason why you have decaf coffee and not caffeinated coffee?
I don't want any stimulants. So I had myself had an adrenal issue. My adrenals crashed. I stopped exercising for a year. I had been doing lots of kung fu. I ran too much. I had bought into the same lies that, we're all brought up to believe. I don't want any stimulants. So a stimulant, if I start my day off with a stimulant, it'll kind of give a kick in the pants to my adrenals I've just gotten just fine now. They're healed.
Do you have your decaf butter egg yolk coffee after eating, or you sometimes have it fasted?
That's all I have in the morning. And then I go paddleboarding and then I have lunch.
Oh, so you don't have breakfast. That is your
See,
breakfast.
yes, to me.
Okay.
So in the medical world, fasting is not eating carbohydrates. So fat is giving me energy, it's giving me ketones. I am nourishing myself. I've been traveling nonstop. And so when I'm traveling and flying a lot, my skin will be a little bit more inflamed, dry, and upset. So to make sure that my skin is hydrated, calm, and happy, I literally travel with this red light mask everywhere I go. I use the highest setting, and I also do it for about 20 to 30 minutes per night with the infrared light setting on. This is so amazing for anyone who wants to calm down and depuff the face because of the amazing red light benefits. And it also helps with cystic acne and flare-ups as well. If you guys are interested in any of the Bond Charge products that I love, I'll make sure to link them down below with my discount code SBGAL for 15% off at checkout.